the mindset that you have to have for that. And I want to just say again, thank you for Dr. TPS and his absolute wisdom, which he taught us earlier on. And like I said, Professor Queen Elizabeth Lucas has just shown us by being that ill, still she has performed, still she has brought us together, still she perseveres with her plight and her fight to make sure she, and Yes You Can International, reaches everyone. That is exactly what we're talking about in terms of how you manifest yourself, how you adjust you so that you can still try and keep going. That is for me a true leader. So I salute you, my queen, yet again. We're talking about leadership, relationships, this emotional intelligence concept. And when we talk about this emotional intelligence, for me, it's very, very key. And I'm passionate about it purely because if you don't have this concept and if you don't get the gist of why you need to actually be intelligent about your emotions, then how are you going to adjust to anything? How are you going to learn how to get through anything? You have to learn these concepts, adjust you in terms of what you are facing. And the key for this is about how you adjust with your being emotionally intelligent about yourself. So this emotional intelligence is important because it's important here. You need it for you as a person, and you need it also to develop and maintain healthy relationships with many people around you. Because once you have this, you're more likely then to be able to manage your emotions in a productive way. If you are somebody who has this higher emotional intelligence, you know certain things about you, you know that there's certain ways that you need to deal with stuff, then you are able to learn control mechanisms, control skills, and how to deal with certain things. If you, for example, are angry or upset with others, then if you have a emotional intelligence that allows you to grow and you know this about you, then you will learn how to express these feelings in very appropriate ways, as opposed to doing something that will be negative. When you develop certain skills, skills that will enhance this emotional intelligence self within you, then this is going to help you achieve those goals that you set for yourself more easily. This is going to help you improve your sense of well-being. Once you do this, you will become this individual with a very high level of emotional intelligence, which will enjoy your life even more. As Dr. TP has also just taught us, life is key. The energy you put into your life is key. So understanding your emotional intelligence side of your life is going to be key to develop you and grow you so you can enjoy life at a better, more emotionally intelligent way, if I can put it that way. When you do this, you are then able to build relationships. This entire leadership masterclass course is about how to maintain your relationships, how to grow them. But in any relationship, the key ingredient is you as an individual. And when you become this emotionally intelligent someone, then you know how to build those relationships, how to foster them, how to sustain them. And you will understand then what makes differences in other people's lives and how you can maybe help to adjust their lives for them to also live fulfilling lives too. But everything is key when it comes to this point. Emotional intelligence is important because it involves skills development for you. And those skills are what I'm going to focus on today, because those skills allow you to manage your emotions productively, and it helps you to express your feelings appropriately. And yet, even though you might have to express something something that is difficult to have expressed to someone, having emotional intelligence helps you to express that in a good way, where you are considerate of the person you have to relay your message to, and yet you still make yourself heard. This doesn't break down a relationship. It helps you to build your relationships and makes it less difficult to communicate with each other. In terms of you having these relationships, you have to develop at least 4 different skills which are crucial. Number one of them is the sense and skill of self-awareness. When you become aware of your own emotions, when you become aware of you as a self, when you are aware of how are you thinking, how does how you're feeling affect how you're thinking, then will you be able to take control of how you react to those. The concept here is self-awareness. That skill needs to be developed. Our next skill we have to talk about is motivation. When you are driven by positive emotions like joy and happiness and love and enthusiasm, rather than the negative emotions, for example, the anger, the anxiety, and etc., that all follows there, which are negative. When you are driven by the positive ones, then you have the sense of self-motivation within you, where you know that even though something may be difficult, I'm in an adverse situation, but like again, Dr. TPS had said earlier, we are not the emotion. We have to be intelligent enough to control that emotion so it doesn't overtake us. That self-motivation is a skill we need to develop to enhance who we are, because that person within you needs to rein forth when things go wrong, especially. Another skill that needs to really be looked at is self-regulation. How do you actually regulate your emotions? How do you manage your emotions? How do you take control of your emotions? So how do you regulate yourself when an emotion hits you, whatever that emotion is? Are you aware of what your reactions are? Are you aware of how you regulate your emotions in a self? Are you aware of whether you have these motivational skills within you to get through things? Another skill very important for us in terms of emotional intelligence and in terms of relations and leadership is empathy. Understanding emotions of other people is so key. We love to be understood. We love to be heard. We love people to appreciate us. We love to be able to be known and understood and cared for and respected. But if you love that, the next person loves and wishes that the same. So when you have empathy, you have this understanding of emotions of other people. And therefore, with emotional intelligence as a skill within you and the skill of empathy being defined even further, you will know how to respond to other people because you empathize with them. You will know how to become helpful to other people because you empathize with them. And that builds that constructive leadership role you are in. It will build constructive relationships where you can grow together in your relationship as well. Now, if you have to talk about an emotionally intelligent relationship, what exactly is this? Because, great relationships are not always easy to come by. We don't have great relationships all the time. If you want to have a great relationship with anyone, it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of work. And you can improve any of your relationships, especially by working on this concept of emotional intelligence, because that emotional intelligence within you is that ability that you have. Like I said earlier, you have got those skills, the self-awareness skill, the self-regulation skill. And having this emotional intelligence gives you that ability that you need to understand those emotions, as well as the emotions of other people. There are a few things that we need to obviously look at when we building emotionally intelligent relationships. And I'd like to go into these a little bit more in detail. One of them is, like I said, in terms of a skill, the self-awareness skill. So being aware of your emotions, for me, is the first step for you developing yourself in terms of having any emotionally intelligent relationship. Now, remember, for me, what is key in terms of any relationship, when I talk about a relationship, many people consider it being a relationship between you and someone else. Let us look at also the relationship about you with yourself. So when we are talking here about emotionally intelligent people, emotionally intelligent individuals, and having an emotionally intelligent relationship, you have got to understand that that emotionally intelligent person has a relationship with you. You have a relationship with you first. If you are not going to create the self-awareness within you, if you are not going to want to become intelligent about your emotions, how are they controlling you? How do they affect you? How do your emotions, how you carrying your emotions, how you respond to your own emotions, how do they affect other people around you? That is really key. So becoming aware of your emotions is not necessarily just your emotions and how it impacts you. It's also how do your emotions and your reaction about your emotions, how does that impact other people? What are those people perceiving from how you're reacting about your own emotion? So become aware, because this then helps you identify how you're feeling, what you're feeling, when you're feeling it. That then helps you develop triggering points. These are the trigger points that affect these certain emotions that trigger certain behavior patterns within me. It's very key, not just for emotional intelligence, but for you to develop you as a self in any form, in any way. My next important skill development that I would like everyone to understand in terms of EQ. Understand the emotions of other people. In order to build your relationship with other people, you have to understand their emotion also. Are they frustrated? What brought about their frustration? Do they have a sense of how to understand their frustration or not? What exactly is making them sad if that's the emotion you are viewing? What exactly is the emotion that they are feeling if they are happy? This requires empathy, like I spoke about earlier in the 4 points I gave you. Empathy is key because that then allows you to put yourself in their shoes. You don't have to agree with everything someone else is feeling. You don't have to disagree with it either. But it's important that you acknowledge what they are feeling. It's important to acknowledge how you are going to respond to them because you are now aware that this is what is happening within you. And then you will understand why they could be feeling that way. So understanding other people's emotions while you're being aware of your own is very key to you becoming emotionally intelligent. The other concept I want to talk about in terms of this topic is how to respond appropriately to people. Once you become more aware of your own emotions and the emotions of those around you, then our next step is to learn how to respond to those emotions appropriately. And that's what being intelligent emotionally teaches you, that appropriate response that is required. If someone is having a bad day, their day is bad. Something has done the trigger point within them to create that bad day for them. You don't need to necessarily take it personally. It's not something bad about you. It's not you that is bad. It is their day that was bad. It's still outside of you. The only thing you can control at that point in time is how you react to that person who has had the bad day. So if they seem irritated or if they are short-tempered with you, then it's not about you. It is about them. It is about their feelings, their emotions, their triggers. The only thing you can control at that point in time is how do I control my reaction to those? How do I control my reaction to this person who has had the bad days? The same thing happens if that person is really excited about something. And you know, you want to join a conversation and it's sort of all happy, excited conversation. You're not going to take into that happy conversation something that is completely negative. You're going to actually want to find out what is so happy, what's happening, what's happening, why are you guys so excited? And then all of a sudden you will join in with that emotion. The key here is you responding appropriately. And that appropriate response is not negative for you as an individual. Our next point, when we're dealing with others especially, we need to be fully engaged with them. Be fully engaged with the people that you are talking with that are around you. Because for emotionally intelligent relationships to actually work, for you to have a relationship that is emotionally intelligent, you need to be fully engaged in the conversation you are having with the person that you are talking to. By that, I mean, when I'm talking to you, do not pick up your phone and start chatting to other people while I'm talking. I can't do that. If you are talking to me and you have something that is seriously going on with me that you want my attention to be given to, I cannot be picking up my phone and checking my messages and or perhaps going through my email while you're having a conversation with me. It's actually disrespectful, so to speak. So you have to be fully engaged with people while you want to have their conversations with you too. That's very key. You need to give your undivided attention to people that you are conversing with, that are wanting you to give a reaction to them. Because if you're not going to be totally in that moment, if you are not going to be tuned in and engaged, then you are not going to understand what your reaction needs to be. How are you going to be aware of what your emotion is? How are you going to be aware of what their emotion is? And how are you going to now know what your proper, appropriate reaction has to be to them if you are not giving that conversation your fully functional engagement, if you are not there holistically, if you're not there completely, you're not going to be able to do that. So it's very important for you to really be fully engaged. Our next point that is really, really, really important is we have to work on that empathy that I spoke about earlier. Empathetic people tend to have a better understanding of others' emotions. And when you have that better understanding, you're able to build stronger relationships because of that. Being empathetic doesn't mean that you have to agree again with everything that somebody's feeling. All it's doing is makes you acknowledge them. And then you actually acknowledge yourself in that moment. And when you're doing that, you put yourself in their shoes from time to time. And this also then makes you take a step back. You take that step back that is so important for you to understand their situation, but then you also understand your own. Sometimes when you're talking to somebody else and they give you an example of some pain that they are enduring, they might not know that you have gone through the same pain. But listening to them, being attentive and being engaged in that moment, so not picking up the device while they're talking to you, will make you resonate with what that person is expressing to you. And when they do that, it actually impacts on you emotionally because suddenly it triggers, oh my word, I resonate with this emotion. I resonate with what this person is saying. That makes you aware. Like I spoke about earlier, it makes you aware, firstly, that that person is experiencing this emotion. And it makes you intelligent enough in your emotional capacity to know what your reaction needs to be to that person now that you are knowing empathetically what that person is feeling. So taking that step back while you're feeling that empathy for someone, that is crucial because that alone gives them the idea that you are with them. You are standing there, you are for them. And that allows the perspective to be seen more clearly. That's what the emotional intelligence teaches you. How do you perceive? How do you give off from your perception? Another very important aspect for me is body language. Many times it's something that goes under the water. We don't even consider body language to be crucial, but I find it very, very important because right now I can pick up the phone and have a conversation with someone. The tone might reflect certain things. How they speak may reflect certain things. But when you have visual contact with this person, when you see their body language while they talk to you, the words may seem the same, but the body language can speak the total opposite of what they're trying to say. So, just so that we understand, the use of this body language is either positive or negative. And positive body language is a very important aspect of this emotional intelligence because that can impact how you feel and it can impact that perception that others will have of you as well. So body language is key because some people are trained to read your body language. When you speak, how you speak, etc. All that is important, but your body language speaks volumes. Make sure when you're standing up straight, you have the good posture and that you keep a pleasant expression on your face. We're not asking that you need to lie about your emotions. We're asking that you need to maintain your positive body language. It automatically resonates with a positive emotional intelligence sense. When you're speaking to other people, make yourself feel relaxed. There's nothing to be stressed about. These are people that are for you. These are people that are with you. Why? Because I know this. I'm aware. I'm aware of who my circle is. I'm aware of who is around me. And I'm aware what I need to give off because I'm emotionally intelligent in that way to know what is required of me in my circle. When we're addressing sensitive subjects with people that we have around us, very, very key is how do I do that? How do I say this to this person without them feeling hurt? So I rather just not say it at all. Is that the perception? Because majority of the time, that's what we find happens. People out there actually prefer to not say something because they believe that person may take offense. We're not sure how that person will react. Yet it's what you are feeling. It's what you need heard. You need your voice to be heard about something that is plaguing you, but you don't speak it. Why? Because of the fear of their reaction to you. How often do you see yourself doing that? I don't say something because their reaction is going to be bad. You assuming that. Let's talk about rather, how can I get my message heard in a diplomatic way? How can I make it known that something is plaguing me or that this person has done something I'm not happy with? because we need to be able to have these difficult conversations in life. That creates the potential for change. When somebody needs to be told they have done something wrong, we don't need to blurt it out in a way that harms them. If you know that your mannerism might be harmful, then change the manner in which you will relay the message, but don't make the message go unheard. There are some things that have to be spoken about. There are something that needs to be discussed. Let's change rather how we discuss it instead of not discussing at all. That is key. And emotional intelligence helps us to do that. When we learn how to be intelligent emotionally in how we converse with each other, we will then automatically learn how to develop the relationships we're trying to pull together. That then helps us also to go into my next point, which I always talk about. And that is to view any challenge that we are having, any adversities that we are going through, as windows of opportunities. Our adversities that we face in life are mere opportunities for us to grow. We grow ourselves through them, we develop ourselves through them, and we help ourselves and others around us through how we grow through the process. So, when the world is full of difficulties, as it is right now, everywhere across the globe, there is difficulty. Many people watching us right now are going through massive difficulties within them. They turn into beautiful classes like this to try and find answers that can help them get through it. So in these difficulties, it does not mean that relationships themselves have to be just as difficult as the world's difficulties. Those relationships that we're building on could be what saves us. And if you're able to look at the challenges in your life with this open mind, and as Professor Dr. Queen Elizabeth Lucas has always been teaching us about the importance of mindset, if you have an open mindset and the mindfulness of being someone who's open to opportunities, then those difficulties will become your opportunity. You will find the solutions and the light to those problems you are facing. And this builds you within you, but it can go a long way to help you build stronger relationships with those around you. Everyone in your life is important, whether they're there for a short space of time, whether they're there for a longer space of time, but everyone is there for their purpose. And when we understand that, we'll understand that building those relationships helps us to build ourselves just as much as we build theirs. So as much as I'm talking today about building relationships with other people, building with yourself and within yourself, those other people are also individuals. Those other people I'm referring to are also individuals looking to find their emotionally intelligent selves as well. So we are all trying to still grow. In this masterclass, for example, today, I grew and I learned so much from Dr. TPS. I'm always learning from my sister, Professor Nada. I'm always learning from Professor Dr. Queen Elizabeth. None of us, from Professor Charles as well, none of us know everything. We are all learning every day from each other to grow together. And as we keep developing and learning, we're lifelong learners. We keep learning because we want to give off learning. And what helps us to do that? The fact that we're able to see each other openly. We're able to see each other not just by titles and stature. We see each other for being human beings trying to make the difference in the life of humanity today. All of us I know on this panel and everywhere else that we sit together, I share many platforms with so many of our speakers here. And most often we do it because we have the passion for education. We have the passion to try to drive education, not just for youth, for adults too, because that education is what is required for you to learn about you. When you have the sense of education where you understand there's holistic education that's needed, then you understand that the emotional intelligence part of you being educated is key. It's key for you to grow in your life. It's key for you to grow in your circumstance and your environment. This is what is crucial, and this is why these masterclasses are so important. How do I tie in everything that I've just said at the beginning to now? Remember that emotional intelligence, we said, is the key to success in all of our relationships. Mostly for me, the relationship within yourself. The relationship you have with you as a self is key for you to find and develop mannerisms in how to cope with the relationships with those around you. And when you're able to understand your emotions, then you're going to understand the emotions of other people. It then becomes easier to interact with other people because, like I gave you the 4 principles before, you become aware, you know how to regulate your emotions and how to control them, you have empathy, and then you know how to motivate yourself when you need to control your emotion to deal with someone. If you're able to respond appropriately to people, then you know how to fully engage with them, you know how to talk about your feelings in a diplomatic way. You are then able to realize that these relationships can last longer. You develop a sense of how to communicate effectively. And then you see the success in relationships is how to understand each other, even when it is something that's difficult to try to understand. I can agree to disagree with you. I can love someone in this moment, but hate something that they are doing. It does not mean I hate you. It means I don't like the action that you are carrying out. And we need to see that as emotionally intelligent people, that when somebody is doing something that is wrong, let us not hate the person, but let us hate the action maybe, and let us be able to learn how to tell them it is wrong, change it, and let's guide them to make the change. This is an example that I'm giving you. Now, when it comes to leadership, I've dealt now with the emotionally intelligent part of my topic. I've dealt with the mindset a little bit, and I've touched on the relationships portion a lot. But when it comes to leadership, I just said that everything about us emotionally being intelligent, it's all about you as a self first before anything else. Now, for me, when it comes to leadership, it is the same. Leadership, we think about people above. But for me, the biggest leader you have as an individual is you. You lead you. And if you are not emotionally intelligent enough about you, then how are you going to lead you in every circumstance that happens with you? So leadership is about you, your leadership style, your leadership skills. Now, emotionally intelligent leaders, these leaders are able to handle many aspects, many issues, interpersonal relationships, etc. All they do it with empathy. An emotionally intelligent leader is someone who connects emotionally, either with their employees or their board members, etc., and they lead by example, in my opinion. In my opinion, an emotionally effective leader, emotionally intelligent leader, will lead effectively purely by example first, not by dictating, not by trying to make other people do stuff against their belief system, but by rather listening, by conjuring up good relationships with the people they have to work with, by understanding them, by maintaining the 4-point philosophy I spoke about earlier, which is being aware of me as a leader makes me aware of the people that are working with me. Knowing how to regulate my emotions when things go wrong, how to regulate what I need to do as my management style, makes me understand how I need to react to the people that work with me. I have empathy for them, so I understand them and I know things about them, so I am therefore able to place them strategically in certain departments so that I know I can get effective results out of them. I know that my people that are with me need certain motivations and training in certain things, so I would like to enhance their skills. I want to build them just as I build me. That is emotional intelligence for you. I am intelligent emotionally to know these things about people that I am leading. So when we talk about why is EQ then so important in leadership? Because it improves that self-awareness, because it increases that sense of accountability, because it fosters up the communication that is so necessary between the leader and the people that the person is leading, because it builds not just relationships. EQ in your leadership role helps to build trusting relationships. And when you have those trusting relationships, then you will be a helpful leader. You will be able to process your emotions as well as those that you are leading. And that allows them to then address whatever challenges comes up effectively with you. They don't have the fear factor in place where I cannot talk to this person because they're my boss. They lead, so I got to listen. No, you have an open way of managing, speaking, and listening. When you have an emotionally intelligent leader, this person is able to successfully manage relationships in a crisis. That is when your leadership skills, your leadership role comes to play. That is when everything about you as a leader is tested and tried when a crisis hits you and the people that you are trying to lead. And when you are emotionally intelligent as a leader, then you are aware, then you are knowing how to regulate your emotions, as well as those of the people you are leading. You know how to motivate yourself to make clearer decisions. And then you are able to be empathetic, so you know what decisions impact who and how, and that makes you lead them more effectively. So to be effective, leaders must have a solid understanding of how their emotions and actions affect those people around them. The better a leader relates to and works with others, then the more successful that leader is definitely going to be. Take the time to work on these aspects. Take the time to work on self-awareness. Take the time for you to work on self-regulation. Take the time, please, to work on empathy. Take the time to learn social skills, how to motivate and empower you. Because working on these areas within you in your life is going to help you as an individual, firstly, in your family units, in your communities. It's going to build your societies, and it's going to eventually build nations. But it starts with you taking the time out to learn these things about you. And working on these is definitely going to help you excel in your life and excel in the future. That's where we need to look at. Let us not take everything that's difficult around us and make it dark. There is light. Why? Because you are light. You learning about you, developing you, and growing you emotionally, learning about how these emotions affect you, gaining intelligence on what to take back control of, that is your light. And we need to give back some of that light once we learn it to others too. That's what everything is about. So to be able to know everything is not easy, but to be able to learn about you is easy, because no one else knows you better than you. When you know you and you're in tune with yourself, then you can learn how to be intelligent about your emotions. You will be intelligent about your mindset. You will build your leadership skills, and you will then develop beautiful relations like we all have on these lovely masterclasses and every webinar that we sit on. We build relations and we keep growing together. Let me pause there and say thank you so much to my honorable professor, Dr. Queen Elizabeth Lucas, for having me today. And it was really was amazing to listen to Dr. TPS as well and gain so many insights from him. Thank you, Professor Charles, for joining us. Lovely, Professor Nada. Always love having your support and you being with us. Thank you for everyone to be with us today. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing and interesting topic that you've shared with us today. And that is very, very important to everybody, because if you can take care of yourself, if you can love yourself, if you can add value to yourself, then it will be easier to add value to others. The way we interact with people matters, especially when we are building relationships. And that is what you have really shared with us today. I have many questions, if I can.
Yes.
But let me first of all ask if anybody from the audience, if you have any questions, please type it, because Professor Mehreen is here to answer all your questions. But my first question is, how do you perceive?
Sorry, your question is, how do you perceive?
Yeah, how do you perceive others? What is the skills? What can we do to perceive others?
The first thing is to resonate with you. You have to learn certain skills about you first. I cannot learn how to perceive other people if I'm not aware of how to perceive things within me, because that is going to be misperception on every level. Mm-hmm. I need to learn about these emotions. For example, you only know somebody is angry because you know what that emotion is of anger. If you don't know what angry looks like, if you don't know what angry emoticons are like, you wouldn't know what emoticon to use when you're sending a text message, right? So you have to be aware of that emotion in order to understand the perception that goes with it. When I know that I am happy, when I know that I am comfortable, I then know that this is what it feels like. Because I know and I'm in tune with what that feels like within me, I can perceive that when I see it in someone else. Therefore, if I'm walking in a mall, for example, I'm very seriously faced because I'm in this mall. I'm not necessarily smiling because I'm walking alone. But let me watch a mother with their baby and they suddenly laugh together. I automatically have a smile on my face. Why? Because I'm perceiving their joy and it has an impact on me. So perception is key for you first to understand things about you, then you analyze to understand about others. Then only for me can you perceive how others are feeling and then how to react to those. I hope that answers your question.
Absolutely. It does answer that question because sometimes we want to look outside instead of us looking inside.
Yeah.
And it is what you see inside that you will now perceive others. You will either perceive others, also admit that we are all different.
Yes.
And also, you can also accept others. Because if you can see yourself in them, then you can accept them, knowing that we are all human beings and we develop some certain things in our lives. So that is why I really appreciate the fact that you said we should resonate within us and also be aware of the emotions. You know, one thing I always tell people, if you don't know something, then you abuse it.
Yes.
Or you misinterpret it.
Mhm.
But when you get a better understanding of emotions, then you will be reasoning whenever
Yes.
you come across it. So you said that you reject the person or you accept the person.
Mhm.
So it is very important. And you can only accept the person when you've seen the better picture of that emotions. Because no
And
one,
sometimes,
yeah,
sorry.
because no one is perfect.
No.
No one is
Sometimes,
perfect.
sometimes the thing is, you know, when you become so emotionally involved in something, you actually don't see a clearer picture of other things.
Mm.
And for example, this is a hypothetical example, Professor Nada, I'm just using your name. Let's just say Professor Nada and I are having a conversation. And because I love her and I'm so close to her, there are things that I really resonate with her. So when she is feeling pain about someone or something, she relays it to me because I'm her sister friend, yes?
Mm-hmm.
That something or someone does not become reason for me to hate or harm that something or someone. My role as Professor Nada's sister friend is to guide Professor Nada through the process because she is thinking of something emotionally. She is thinking of something with an emotion. So she's not going to see it clearly. But I am sitting on the outside. So I can be more objective than Professor Nada can be. So I can give her an emotionally intelligent answer, which she might not be able to see. However, once I give her my answer, once I give her that guideline, there will be a clearer guideline for her. And she will then be able to see clearly, wait, you're right. I shouldn't actually think the way I'm thinking. I'm actually thinking more emotionally. So I need to put things into perspective. I need to take a step back, become aware of how I'm feeling because I'm emotionally disturbed right now and I cannot act right now. So sometimes we need that third party vision to help us get back in line with how we should be thinking. That creates the good perception. That creates how we need to actually give off a response sometimes. And most often that's where we get caught in life, Professor Queen Elizabeth Lucas. We do. Most often we all go through difficulties all the time. But when the difficulty actually takes control of us, when the emotions that we're feeling takes control of us, and we don't realize and we're not aware of the impact that emotion is having, how bad it is, and we just start to react based on that. How often has it been that we reacted negatively at something or someone, and 2 or 3 days later we thought, oh, I knew I shouldn't have done that. Now I feel bad. But the words have been spoken, the damage has been done. It would have taken 2 seconds to take a step back and say, I'm not going to do this now. I'll walk away for a while. So that is how we need to start to take back control of us. I cannot control what people say. I cannot control what people do. I can't control how people think, but I can control my reaction to all of those things. And how I react to it is what is key for me and my growth. So when I need to grow and develop myself to my fullest and being true to me, being authentically me, I need to become emotionally intelligent as how do I perceive these things that are wrong around me. I can't alter these things. I can only change me and how I react to these things.
It's very, very important. And while you are listening, while I was listening to you as well, I come to realize something, that it's personal development is very key issue.
Mhm.
And that
Very.
is the most important thing in a relationship. If you cannot develop yourself and study your emotions, study everything about you, you will really appreciate other people, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. How am I going to appreciate you if I don't know of you?
Mhm.
But how do I know what to appreciate of you if I don't appreciate me?
Mm.
I just feel within me that a lot of me has to be more developed, more grown,
Yeah.
and more in tune with me for me to be able to see that, to appreciate it in the next person.
Yeah.
I cannot give off what I don't know.
Mm.
So the only person who knows me is me. The only person who can do the analysis and psychological introspections, etc., that are needed for me to grow me is me. But the key to doing that, for you to get a proper positive result and outcome, is to do it honestly.
Mm.
When you're doing introspection on yourself, make sure you are doing it honestly, or you're not going to see any change. We are so used to, especially women out there, we are so used to living and making sure the norms and the standards of other people outside of us are always seen to first. We're making sure everything is dealt with for everybody else first.
Mm.
When I say, for example, in some of my workshops to women, please make sure you take a 2-minute or 3-minute time out every day and give yourself gratitude for you. How many of these women come back and say, but I don't have the time. By the time I get to bed, I'm exhausted. And I'm here to say, if you don't make the 3 minutes of time for you, then who's going to do it?
Exactly.
You have to give you that little bit of time, a 2-minute timeout every day for you to give gratitude just for you being you is
Mhm.
going to give you multiple loads of positive light and energy to get through tomorrow. And we cannot be reliant on others to keep giving us and giving us and giving us. You have got to give back to you.
Yeah.
Take out of you what is negative and give back to you what is positive. It sits with you. That power sits with you. So that personal development that you just spoke about is key. But again, it is you who must want that. It
Mhm.
is you who must need that. And
Mhm.
it must be you who develops that for you as a person.
Mm.
That's the only way you're going to transform you to be positive later
Yeah.
on.
Exactly. Exactly. Just as we stand as YYCI, we stand on transformation.
Yeah.
And we know that transforming lives or transforming your relationship and even your leadership is a process. And you have to be going gradually, gradually, gradually. So I not just believe that when you want to transform, like I always say to people, you cannot change anybody.
Mm.
But if you change yourself, build yourself up, develop yourself, automatically it will reflect those around you and also everything around you. And that is why your topic today is very essential, because we developing ourselves, emotion is very important. And sometimes our emotions lead to nowhere and we can control it because we have the ability to control every other thing. And the only thing I also understand as well from your message is that once you focus on you, me, Elizabeth, and develop and help and love myself, because that is the most important thing. So once you can do that, you will appreciate life more. You will
Yes.
appreciate people more. And not only that, maturity now comes. Because like people will say, it doesn't matter how old are you. If you are not mature, you are not mature. Somebody can be 60 and still behave like 20 years old.
Yes.
Isn't it? But
Yeah,
then,
fully.
yes, because the reason why I said that is that I have met so many millionaires and entrepreneurs all my life. And sometimes what comes out of their mouth, it's so, it's so shocking.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be thinking they are the leaders. You'll be thinking they are billionaires. You'll be thinking they are great entrepreneur that is successful. Yes, you can be succeed in life, but then you need to take care of yourself. That is why you see so many people, especially the millionaires, killing themselves. Because if they know who they are and develop who they are and know how to handle crisis, handle their emotions, control their emotions, they don't need to kill themselves. But
Just
then,
exactly on that point.
yeah,
It's because they become so, and this is no disrespect to any billionaire out there,
yeah,
but it is because they become so engrossed with the importance and value they place on the gaining of the income that
exactly.
they lose the sense of self-peace. What Dr. TP spoke about today in terms of that peace and development within you,
Yeah,
as peaceful as a soul, your peace is from within you. And
exactly.
when you start to give the importance of you as an individual to other things, then your sense of importance as you as an individual is going away from you. So
Exactly.
if you are not aware that you are doing that, eventually you are not important as an individual anymore.
Exactly.
The importance is only about what is outside of you. And that then makes us sit and think about a question.
Yeah.
How would you define what is success for you then?
Mm-hmm.
Success is going to have to be of material gain for you to have any emotion of happiness then. So success is not just about that. Success is to be holistic for you to feel that. But if you're going to be placing your success based on a material gain or something outside of you, and all of your importance is drained off you and given outside of you, then who are you as an individual? Then you've lost your
Exactly.
individuality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because another thing is, and sometimes when you ask people, do you know who you are? The next thing they will tell you is that I am a millionaire, I'm successful, I'm a teacher, I'm a trainer, I'm a writer. But that's not what you are. Because
Mhm.
that is what you are doing. Doing is different from being, as you can
Very.
agree. Doing is different from being.
Yes.
And can I shock you as well that being lasts longer than
Yes.
doing, because you can change at any time what you are
Absolutely.
doing. But when you become, that stays with you forever. And that is why it is very important that we focus more on ourselves. When this war at Russia and
Ukraine.
Ukraine, when
Yeah.
that thing started, I was asking myself a question. What is in the mind of Putin at that time?
Mm.
Because Putin is not Putin. It is what is in his mind. And it is what is in your mind that you act on. It might be a very good man. He might be a very successful man, an intelligent man, because he's been in the government for almost 10 years now or more than
Yeah.
that. But the question is, what was the state of his mind for him to say that until he grabs something violently, that is the way he can do it? No. So every one of us are unique. Every one of us are blessed. But sometimes we leave ourselves to pursue outside. We forget about the inside, and then we let emotion take over and the state of our mind to take action. All these wars going on is about everything that is going out there. Between me and you, that we are developing ourselves and others that are joining us today, we all know that war is not good. Violence is not good. Abuse is not good. The only way we can get better understanding of this is when we check our lives, check our mindset, check our emotions. You might be a very good, successful, intelligent person. But what is in your mind? How you control your emotions matters. So that is why it is very important that we really work on this.
You just brought something to my mind quickly before you conclude, Dr.
Yes.
Lucas.
Yes.
And it's something I shared in one of the talks I gave last week at an event I went to.
Yes.
I use it very often sometimes because it resonates with people, and it's an analogy that we use. So for example, if I'm hungry and I go into the kitchen and I open my fridge,
sorry,
I'm going to make
one second, please. Let me quickly say, acknowledge Professor Nada.
Thank
you so much, because I know you are leaving us now.
Yes.
To go for your IGP. So we wish you all the best. I might join to listen to yours as well.
I will start for 30 minutes, but you know, I need to prepare. They need to check.
Yes.
I want to thank Dr. TPS once again. Wonderful session. Professor Dr. Ambassador Mehreen. This is something that we really need. We need, and I want once again to say, please go back, listen this video, watch it, because we all need this. We are going all through this bad times, living very fast, living very hard, don't taking care about ourselves. And this advice, only 3 minutes, if we can give to ourselves, that is very important. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. I just need to quickly show our appreciation for her joining us, because she will be leaving anytime from now. Okay.
Thank you.
Up to you. Over to you.
Thank you, my dear Sister Nada. Lovely. Thank you for being with us. Quickly, I'll just tell you what this analogy is. So I'm hungry and I'm going into my kitchen and I open my fridge and I decide I'm going to have a lovely cheese sandwich and I'm going to make myself a hot cup of tea. But it's not black tea, I'm going to use milk, right? So when I take out the cheese from the fridge and I take out the milk and I have everything set out, I look at the ingredients and I realize, and here we have many power outages all the time. So let's just blame the power outage. So my fridge was off for hours on end. So suddenly my cheese has got mold on it. Not edible, right? The milk has gone bad from the fridge, so I can't use that either. But why will I not eat this cheese? And why will I not consume the milk? Because I know they're bad for me, right? So what made me know that it's bad for me? I educated myself enough to know that if something is that way, it's going to be toxic for my body. If the cheese is mold in it, it's going to harm me. It's going to cause damage to me. So I'm not going to do anything to harm me or consume anything to harm me. I'm going to rather replace this with something that I know is going to be beneficial for my system and still make me feel full at the end of the day. So all of this is going to go into a dirt bin. Why not apply the same principle to life? Whether you're a child in a school, whether you're youth in university, whether you're an adult right now, and if you're listening to us, apply that same analogy to your life. If you are equipped with enough education to know right from wrong, you're equipped with enough to know your emotional stature. You know what about you is not good, what about you needs to change. Are you willing to take the measures that you need to take in order to make those changes? Why will you try and force something and digest something that you know is wrong for you? If I know this cheese is bad for me, I will not digest it. I will not be forced to digest it either. I will merely replace it with what I know is good for me. So why in life would we rather opt to take in and try and force something into our lives which we know before or at the initial onset may be bad for us? And that is the analogy we need to implement in our life today. When we know it is wrong, stand up and say, I cannot consume or digest this, let me replace with something good. But again, it is only because I am equipped with enough knowledge to know the cheese is toxic for my system that I won't be eating it, because I took the time to educate myself to know that. So likewise, right now, take the time to educate yourself about you. What works for you? What doesn't work for you? How can I embrace myself to become more emotionally intelligent? How can I make my mindset more positive and more powerful so that my leadership qualities are better and I have more sustainable, better equipped relationships with others too? More so, my relationship with myself, my leading myself, because I am in charge of me. It's me in front of that fridge that decided I can't eat that. So it's me in my lane. It's me in my race. It's me driving my car. So take control of you. That's the key thing for me. And that's why I wanted to share the analogy. Sorry. Really, think about that.
That is very good. Imagine if the whole world think about themselves, study and educate themselves. Then there will be peace.
Yes.
Because peace needs to start within. It doesn't matter how many organizations you are starting, how many NGO you have, how many times you campaign about peace. If the peace doesn't start within, you are just wasting time.
Then you're not living. You're not living, you're just existing.
Exactly.
Yes.
So you are just organizing the NGO without you having peace. You can't give what you don't have.
Yes.
So when you have peace in you, then you will be able to do everything you are doing peacefully and love people and show kindness. It has to be, because what I say, I'm just enjoying your conversation. I know we said 45 minutes, but this is crucial and we have to get it right. You know, because if we can develop this ourselves, it will really take a long way. Imagine if you do it, I do it, Professor Nada, Professor Charles, Professor GPS. I believe that this is the important things that we all need to work on.
Yeah. This is why I say none of us, as much as we all sit on platforms together, different webinars, different topics we're discussing, the point is we do it because we also learn from each other.
Yes.
There's never a point, and I said this today, there's never a point where we all know everything.
No.
We have to continuously eat humble pie and know in our humility that we need to keep learning. We need to keep growing, and we need to do that together. So no one is above the next. For example, I don't like when they do corporate workshops. I don't like it when somebody comes and tells me, here's my organigram, and it's a triangular one. I don't like the hierarchy on organigrams. I always say to anyone who's running that, if they come to me and if I'm coaching you, the first thing I ask you to do is change that. Because the linear organogram shows that you are part of your organization. You are part of this team and you resonate with the people that are working for you. And that grows you in your leadership role. That makes the people that work for you more productive because they see you differently as opposed to seeing you above them continuously. And that creates that perception again. So perception of somebody above you makes them untouchable. And that's not what you want to be living for. No. Your legacy has to be that I am with you. I am for you. I am with my people. I want to make the change for you. I develop me as I develop you. That's what it's about.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Just as our scenario from YYCI, we learn together, share together, and grow together, and impact into other people's lives together.
Yes.
Because we do it together, irrespective of our differences. Every one of us are going through one thing or the other. But let's come together Because when we come together, we can transform the situation together. We can transform our lives together. We can also transform our relationship together even with our leadership. So there's nothing like Elizabeth is I. No, we are all in the same level so that we can grow together. And that is why I involve these youth to come and let them know that they are also unique in their own way. So, but when you come to this kind of platform, you will feel yourself free to be able to express yourself irrespective of any high rank that is on the platform. I also believe something, they always say that being on the top is lonely.
Yeah. Yes.
So if you make yourself like mighty God and you are lonely up there, you are at risk.
Yes.
But when you humble yourself and come down to the level of others, then you learn from them and they can learn from you.
Yes.
Interesting. I'm learning a lot from you. Today is so special because Professor TPS started this with a lot of insight into transformation and revolution.
Yes.
I also like the way he said the differences between illness and disease.
Yes.
I also like the fact that we're all looking for medicine for illness or sickness, but we never think about medicine for good health.
For health. Yes. I love that.
Sometimes I learn personally from all this. And then Professor Mehreen now came up to say, your emotion is needed. Every one of us have emotions, but we can control it if we get a better understanding of the emotions. Why will I behave like that? Why will that person behave like that? So we need to be asking why. Even before we respond, even before we react, we also 5 minutes or 5 seconds to say, why will he respond like that? So if we can think of that, I believe that answers will come for that why. Then you will be able to respond appropriate to that person. Emotion is very important. Sometimes our emotion is based on what surrounds us or what we are going through at that time. But the good part of it is that no condition is permanent. It's just for a short period. So if you can understand that, then you will know that you can come out of that situation because we have power to control, like he told us. You can only have the power to control when you educate yourself. Who am I? Like they said, you have to use something like SWOT analysis. You know your strengths and you know your weakness. You know every opportunities and also the threats, which is very, very important. Our weakness might be based on our emotions. But then if we take good care of it properly, we can grow out of that weakness and we can control our emotions. You know why? Because we are human beings. That is why I like people, we're talking about leadership. That's why I like people that say, as a leader, be human. Let it come from here, from heart, and not from your head. Yes, it's good to go to school, have PhD, masters, everything. But really, when you want to lead people, you have to
Yes.
come from your heart. You have to be human. Don't base your relationship, don't base your leadership on what you know or what you've read. Like sometimes I find people that always base their management on only policy. The policy is there to guide us. Where is your own initiative that you are bringing there? If all what you want to do is just to focus on the policy, that one is just to guide you. For example, the the masterclass we have today is transformational leadership and relationship. But then I ask people, you need to give us your own title. That's initiative, isn't it?
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
Imagine you ask 10 of us to write,
To speak on the same point.
to speak on one point. It will be boring. And there will be repetitive. Because a lot of people will repeat the same thing and it will look like competition. But when you now give people chance to use their initiative and come up with their own title, then it helps. So I want to say thank you so much. Hang on a minute, I need to do something quickly. Because we sit the first time.
Dr. Elizabeth Lucas is a dynamic and motivation speaker. She is based in the United Kingdom. She is the founder and director of YYCI International. She has been invited to several international conferences to speak and lecture. She is an intelligent teacher, author, and she is a mentor to the younger generation. Please subscribe to YYCI TV on YouTube to watch her amazing videos. You will be glad you did.
This is just to let you know that there's nothing too difficult for you to do.
If we can change, then everything around us will change.
Without wisdom, you can't really create wealth. We are in the world of creativity. Okay, I missed out the introduction of our great speaker, Professor Dr. Ambassador Mehreen Beer. So permit me to quickly introduce her again. I know she's done a very good job by sharing with us today, but I just want you to know more about this, our amazing mentor. Professor and Doctor in Humanity, Education and Humanitarian, Global Goodwill Ambassador in Humanitarian, USA, South Africa Country Director of Igniting Dreams of Young Minds, South Africa National Director of International Youth Society Nepal, President of South Africa Chapter of Success World One Academy, President Chicago International Women's Council, Global Ambassador of Global Educators Fraternity, CEO and founder of the MEA Company, founding director NGO of Helping Hands Social Society, global executive member and lecturer, International Intensive University. She's also the South Africa Ambassador for Global Educators Network and also the South Africa Ambassador of IFCH Morocco. So let me also tell you more about our wonderful speaker that you've been enjoying listening to her since almost 1 hour ago. Professor Mehreen is also the multiple global accolades award winners, includes being one of the top 100 women in business in the world, GTC, as well as one of the top 30 women of leaders and change internationally. Professor Mehreen entered the Women Appreciating Women Global Hall of Fame in London, UK. She's also the most influential, inspiring, iconic women of the Universe Awardees, IDYMGC 2020. Professor Mehreen is also most inspiring woman of the Earth Awardee, IIU. Professor Mehreen is also the international public speaker and women empowerment specialist sitting on multiple women's forum, GPV platform, and heads up COVID-19 and various communal initiatives to empower humanity at large. The reason why I chose to introduce our wonderful speaker, so that you will know that they are not just ordinary person. They equip themselves, they educate themselves, they improve themselves, and they are still keep learning. Like I always say, learning is living. So if Professor Mehreen can learn, I see no reason why any of you cannot keep learning. And she's also sharing with us very important topic that everyone in the world needs to listen to. If you don't join us from the beginning, I will advise you to go back to this video and watch it and learn some vital, important topic. And you will be blessed that you listen. Transformation is ongoing. Until you transform your life, you cannot transform others. Until you feed your mindset with positive, you cannot progress. So with this, I want to say thank you so much.
Thank you so much, my dear Honorable Queen Elizabeth Lucas. I pray again, God heal you and send you massive, massive loves of tons of love, with light and healing. You're going to feel better soon. I just know it. And I love your tenacious leadership. Dr. Alka will love me for saying that word. But it really is amazing how you persevere, regardless of how you're feeling today. We're all here together because of you. And I humbly, humbly say thank you. And I thank you for the platform. I need to actually send you a very short biography to give me an introduction for, which includes YYCI. So I need to update that for you. I do apologize for that. But I love being with you and I love being with YYCI, and we look forward to many more workshops and masterclasses together. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And on this occasion, we end this masterclass. Tomorrow is the last day. Tomorrow is another day. Tomorrow, we are going to be completing the masterclass of the month of August. If you have missed out, we've recorded all this and you can gain as much as you want to gain from the YouTube, from Facebook, and from other platforms. I want to seize this opportunity to express my gratitude to all our listeners and our contributors, because you've really contributed to this masterclass and you've been patiently enough joining us since Monday. So I want to say thank you so much for joining us. And I want you also to subscribe to YYCI.tv, where you will be able to learn more and learn more and learn. Keep learning, because learning is the real word for life. When you learn, your life will not be the same again. When you learn, you will experience transformation. So keep learning, especially in times of personal development and relationship. Once your personal development is okay and you are doing it regularly, then you can build your relationship with people, with yourself first, and also with people. Then you can talk about leadership, because the leaders are human and they have to work on themselves before they can lead others. They can't change anybody, but they can change themselves. And they are changing their lives. We influence others. That is why we always say that leaders influence. So on this note, I want to say thank you so much, Dr. TPS. Thank you so much, Dr. Mehreen. Thank you so much, Professor Charles. Thank you so much, Professor Nada. We really love you for joining us live on the Zoom. And thank you so much, Dr. Inga. Thank you so much, Tamari. Thank you so much for joining us, and many, many other people. We really appreciate you. And I believe you've learned from all this. Before you go, I want to repeat this question because I know everybody is asking this question. Why are relationships important to learn about? I'm asking you the question, Professor Mehreen. Do you want me to ask that question again? Why are
Okay, now I can hear you. Yes, please do.
Okay. Why are relationships important to learn about?
The first thing you have to understand is what exactly is this relationship? Break it down. It is like a ship that's sailing, filled with relations. What is relation? Relation is actually a similar word to connection. We connect. And the ideal ship of connection is the one that you sail with yourself. So when you define what relationship is for you first as a person, then you will define what relationships you are looking for with others. How do you define relationship with other people? So why is it important? Because we live for it. You are never born alone. If we had to be lone rangers sailing our own ships with no sailors, just a captain on your ship, you wouldn't need a parent. You wouldn't need a family. You would simply be placed here. But there's a reason your creator chooses for you to be given into a family unit, because that's the first relation you have. That relationship builds. And then you move into the world, which is created by your creator also, to develop further relations. That relationship format keeps growing. So relationships are important because through those relationships, you yourself grow. And when you grow yourself through the relationships, it's even better to build the relationship. That for me is why relationships are important. How we perceive it is important, and how we develop them is obviously how we will get through them too. You're muted, my queen.
Finally, I asked Professor TPS, and I also want to, because I believe it's a very good question. And that is why I keep repeating the questions to all our speakers. And even the person that was asking this question has asked these questions almost 3 times a day, and 3 times in this week.
Okay.
So I believe that they still want more answers. Why are relationships, we've talked about that. There is another one. What they are trying to say is that, how can you understand relationship with leadership?
How do I understand leadership, relationships with leadership?
Yes. I mean, what they are
In
trying
order
to
for-
say is that we're talking about relationship, and we're also talking about
leadership.
So how important is relationship in leadership?
Well, I'll start with a question. If I'm a leader and I'm in a leadership role, why am I in the role? Is because I am leading something or someone. Most often you're in a leadership role because somebody has appointed you there, or because there are others that you are leading. in order to have the leadership role that you have, in order to understand the concept of leadership itself, to be a leader in a role, to be a leader in your own life, for example, you are leading you right now. You are leading yourself to ask us this question on the platform right now. It is your leadership style to want to find out about things to grow and develop you. This is why you want an answer. So that leader within you is developing this because of relationships that you are building. So as a leader right now in my own right, I, for example, attend many schools that I'm dealing with. I'll give you a hypothetical example. The school I'm in now has got 1,200 children, together with over 40 educators. I have to build a rapport as the leader amongst them, with them, to grow and educate them. That means I am not just a leader here. I lead by example of what I'm teaching. But in order for me to get through in my leadership role successfully, that the relationship that I am building with my students and educators has got to be on par. So there's a very big importance placed in the relationships you have and in the leader you claim to be in the relationship you are having. In every relationship, there's always a leader. It's not necessarily corporate based. Whether you are married to someone, whether you're a parent to someone, whether you're a teacher in a classroom, whether you're a lecturer at university, whether you are the chancellor at a university, whatever your role is, there is a relationship in a leadership role, but in that relationship. Where in the parent-child relationship, the leader is not only the parent. The parent-child relationship, the leader is also that child, because they have to listen to each other and talk to each other to grow together. So there is a very great importance in understanding how leadership and relationship is interlinked. So to whomever has asked that question, I say thank you. Thank you for asking it, and thank you for keep on asking it, because all of us have different perceptions of that answer. And those answers and the perceptions that you get will help you get a clearer understanding to which answer resonates with you and works best for you. Important question. Thank you. So I hope I've answered it well enough. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Right. This will be the end of this masterclass today. And I believe that Professor Charles is still joining. So let me see if he would like to say one or two things before we close. But thank you so much, Professor Mehreen. And we believe that you are still coming back again and again to come and talk about these emotions, because we all need it. We all need to learn about it. Like I always say, all my great teachers, my mentors, my trainers, they only put comma to whatever they have shared today. We still need to bring them back. 45 minutes is not enough for them to be able to, and we want to squish them like an orange to make sure we get every vitamin from their teaching. So be an alert while we invite them again to our masterclass. So thank you so much, Professor Mehreen from South Africa. We love you. Okay, please wait around so that we can close together. Professor Charles,